He is in a dark room wishing he could escape. This screen shows an article about a popular congressman. It says his son Jihoon is a top student. Turns out it is Jihoon and girls are fawning over him. One of the girls asks him to step outside. She leads him into an alley, pleading with him. Suddenly her friends show up and corner him for money. Jihoon reminds her he already lent her money last week. Then a guy grabs him, threatening to expose an illegal site. He claims Jihoon is an accomplice just for making it. They then suggest they all just turn themselves in together. She reminds him his dad is a famous congressman, so she tells Jihoon that she is counting on him. Later, he stands in front of a closed door. He takes a breath and reaches for the handle. A voice suddenly asks why he is just standing there. It is his father asking if he has something to say. His dad reminds him the election is coming up. He warns Jihoon not to do anything to ruin his reputation. He gets angry and demands to know why he is not answering. So Jihoon forces a smile and promises not to disappoint him. His dad just scoffs, saying he is already a huge disappointment. He tells Jihoon to just live doing what he is told. After that, Jihoon just collapses in his room, completely broken. But it was just his cat Lulu meowing at him. He smiles, asking if Lulu was worried about him. This cat starts climbing all over him, making him laugh. Jihoon holds Lulu up, calling him a little rascal. He hugs his cat, saying it is the only friend he has. Then he turns his attention to a game on his monitor. He is on the 99th wave, so close to the end, but just as he is about to win, he gets a game over. He failed right at the final 100th wave. He has tried resetting hundreds of times, but it is no use. Meanwhile, another streamer is also raging at the same game. It has been a year and no one has beaten the 100th wave, but this one player is determined not to give up. He believes beating this game is his only escape. He even has a fully enhanced S-rank item, but even with that, he still could not clear wave 100. He is completely out of ideas on how to win. Just then, his cat Lulu steps on the screen. Her paw presses down on the glowing red button. He collapses, thinking all his work is gone. He is in despair, thinking he has to start over. But along with the fragments, he got a dragon's soul. He stares at this new mysterious item on his screen, then it hits him and he starts to get an idea. Jihoon realizes this is the secret to beating the 100th wave, so he quickly hits the button to start the game over. This next day, he is back in his normal life at school. All he can think about is getting back to the game. He is even playing on his phone while walking outside. Jihoon spends all his time grinding day and night. Using his new strategy, he finally clears wave 99 again. He feels confident that his plan is actually working. And now he is finally facing the last wave. He desperately mashes the buttons for the final attack. This boss monster is finally going down. He is determined to clear the 100th wave this time, and then a victory screen pops up. He did it, but his father suddenly appears at the door holding a golf club. He stammers, and his dad says his friends contacted him. They apparently tried to blackmail his father for money. His dad coldly reminds him not to tarnish his reputation. He promises it will never happen again as his father raises the club, but his dad just swings the club down hard. His father calls him pathetic, having smashed his tablet. He is in shock, wondering if his dad harmed Lulu. He asks his father if he has seen his cat anywhere. His dad coldly tells him he will not need her anymore. Jihoon grits his teeth, trying to hold back his anger. But his father, holding a golf club, questions his expression. Jihoon finally snaps and demands to know where Lulu is. His father cruelly says she is with his dead mother. Jihoon is absolutely horrified by what he just heard. His dad grabs his face, telling him to just obey. He warns Jihoon not to disappoint him ever again. This man says that he trusts his son to behave, but Jihoon realizes he just cannot endure this anymore. This golf club lies on the floor, implying the worst. But beaten and broken, he feels there is no reason left to escape. It invites him to a new world as light fills the room. A massive beam of light descends upon a fantasy city. Inside a castle, two guards see the light with hope, and there is Jihoon kneeling as knights bow before him. This people are all cheering for their long-awaited savior, but Jihoon feels strangely calm, unable to even cry. It is as if all his emotions have just been reset. Then a deep voice from the throne calls out to him. A king asks if he is the knight who will save the kingdom. Jihoon just stares at the king, recognizing his face. He is the exact same king from the game he was just playing. This king introduces himself as Barris Jordia III. He explains that his kingdom is being overrun by monsters. Just then, a messenger bursts in with terrible news. Jihoon just stands there, trying to process the situation. This messenger is whispering something urgent to the king. He realizes this is exactly like the game's opening. This king says the situation is urgent and cuts to the chase. A game-like window pops up asking him to become Knight Commander. Jihoon kneels down, saying he will only say this once. He remembers his simple life with his cat Lulu. He just remembers grinding the game day and night. He repeats that he does not need that life anymore. This crowd starts whispering, calling him weak for a legend. This king is confused but offers to make him Knight Commander. He promises to grant whatever Jihoon wants for his help. This king tells him not to worry and just do as he is told. Jihoon just stares, stunned by the offer of wealth and honor. It reminds him of how powerful people just take what they want. This king looks at him intensely, saying he is the one, but Jihoon just screams back that he absolutely will not do it. This king is completely taken aback by his refusal. Jihoon thinks about being used because of his family's status. He remembers how everyone just tried to take advantage of him, and now this king wants him to be a legendary slave. He scoffs at their offer of wealth and honor. Jihan has had enough, wishing everyone would just go die. Then he reaches out to press a glowing red button. This court cannot believe the legendary knight is acting this way. His eye glows as he rejects the game's offer. This game's premise is that monsters attack the kingdom, and the player's job is to defend it with their knights. But a notification says he refused to be on the human side. Instead, a hidden route has been unlocked for him. He realizes that the monster faction means no more defense. It means he is now on the side of the offense. This king warns him that choices have consequences. He then tells everyone Jihan is no longer their knight. This king declares that Jihan is now an enemy of the kingdom. This people immediately turn on him, calling him the enemy. So the king rallies all his knights to fight. He gives the order to execute Jihan on the spot. As a sword comes at him, Jihan thinks he has endured enough, but then Jihun appears and knights immediately surround him. He is filled with rage and just screams for them to die. All he can think is that he has only been enduring until now. So he unleashes his anger, attacking the royal guards. This king just watches in complete shock and horror. He has been chosen for the monster faction, whose goal is. Jihun decides it is finally his turn to attack. A countdown begins for the first wave of monsters. He realizes he can take an item and return home. He remembers his mom bringing Lulu home for him. He believes he can return to that happy time. Back with Jihan, the knights are cheering for him, but they are all confused by the ominous aura Jihun left behind. This king is still shaken, saying Jihun looked like a monster. He remembers this terrifying, dark aura coming from him. Then a main quest pops up for the monster faction. He sees it is still following the game's basic flow, so he expects to get a random S-rank knight ticket, but instead of a knight, he just gets a big egg. This system says it is an S-rank monster egg, and he accepts. This egg starts to hatch in a flash of light. This guards are freaking out, seeing he summoned something. Jihun knows this monster's name from the game. It is supposed to be a super powerful dragon, Riseldrake. He thinks this dragon will destroy the human faction, but a tiny, cute little bat cat creature pops out instead. Jihun is just stunned, realizing it is a level 1 baby. A small, red creature appears and he pets it. Lulu floats in the air as a notification pops up. He has gained a new skill called Ruler's Eye. This knights try to act tough, calling Lulu a small monster, so they all decide to charge right at Jihun. But he does not care if this is a dream anymore. He activates his new skill, Ruler's Eye. Jihun decides to put all his trust in Lulu. This skill reveals Lulu has dragon breath. He shouts out a command as Lulu powers up. This knights panic, recognizing the attack. Then Lulu unleashes a powerful blast of energy, so he swings his sword, unleashing a red energy. This attack slices through the entire line of knights, and the energy blast just keeps going, hitting the castle. It causes a huge chunk of rock to fall toward the city. He just blasted a massive hole straight through the palace wall. Even Jihun seems a bit surprised by his own strength. This court members are freaking out over the destroyed wall. Jihun, however, thinks this is easier than he expected. He is reminded that he can take one item and go home, and there are tons of powerful items to choose from. But he realizes there is no reason to rush back home. For now, he will just focus on completing his mission here. Jihun then calls out to the human king across the rubble, and from his throne, the monster king vows to destroy them all. Jihun holds his new creature, saying it is time to get his reward. A blonde knight wonders what is happening inside the palace. A knight in a red cape rushes toward the throne room. Jihun stands in a destroyed doorway with his creature, Riseldrake. An advisor frantically orders the guards to form a shield wall. But Jihun has already blasted right through the palace walls. He gathers dark energy, announcing that his target is. Just then, the red-caped knight finally arrives. The shield soldiers brace themselves to protect their king. Jihun prepares to fire a powerful blast of energy. His little creature, Riseldrake, flies forward to attack. This red-caped knight looks relieved, thinking the king is safe. But the knights are confused, wondering why the attack stopped. Jihun realizes that skills consume a certain amount of MP, and Lulu's dragon breath uses a massive amount of it. He tries a normal attack, but it just fizzles out. All that is left is a pathetic little puff of smoke. It seems he has no choice but to wait for the cooldown. Just then, the red-caped knight finally confronts him. Jihun recalls that knights in this game have different ranks. This system shows 5 tiers from D all the way to S. This guy is an S-rank elite, one of the Zodiac 12 stars. His name is Ares, and he looks incredibly powerful. As the kingdom's strongest knight, he checks on the king. Jihun immediately recognizes that this is a bad situation. Ares declares that war is imminent and orders the knights to attack. He powers up his spear, ready to carry out the order himself. Jihun is stunned by the sudden appearance of an S-rank knight. He realizes it is Ares, one of the 12 legendary knights. Ares raises his flaming sword, ready to unleash a skill. He is known as a cheat character who uses Flame Wall. A massive wall of fire comes hurtling towards Jihun. Jihun can only watch in shock as the attack approaches. This blast misses him and crashes into the castle instead. But other people are caught in the flames, screaming. Even the other knights are burning, caught in the crossfire. Jihun is knocked to the ground by the force of the blast. This skill is meant to hit a single target in a line, but Jihun knew he was the target and managed to dodge. Ares is annoyed, calling him a rat for being so good at dodging. Jihan threatens to burn a hole through his heart, but Jihun knows his flame wall is on cooldown. Jihan leaps forward, telling him not to move. He cannot believe it is going to end this easily. Then a main quest reward suddenly pops up. He realizes he needs to claim it right now. So he screams for the system to give it to him. This reward is accepted and he grabs the box. As Jihan attacks, Jihoon throws the box forward. Inside, a powerful sword begins to emerge. Jihoon quickly uses his ruler's eye skill. It reveals an S-rank sword called Hellbringer. A new white-haired guy appears holding a massive sword. He realizes he's been given the power to massacre. His mission is to destroy the human faction. This sheer weight of his sword cracks the palace floor. He loses his balance as he falls through the hole. He is frustrated, thinking he has not even done anything yet. He struggles to stop his fall, refusing to fail. He finally manages to stop, panting in relief. Jihoon is thrilled, realizing his little creature is a dragon. Down below, the townspeople just see a person flying. Jihoon reflects on how he almost died right at the start. But now he understands the huge power gap he is facing. He knows more S-rank knights will appear later on. So for now, his main goal is just to escape the kingdom. Meanwhile, Ares is furious with himself for letting Jihoon get away. He calls himself a pathetic fool for failing his king. As he is beating himself up, another knight approaches him. This knight tells him that the king is calling for him. Ares immediately kneels, asking for punishment for his failure, but the king just tells him that the sun is setting. He reminds Ares that this is when the monsters get stronger. This king then puts Ares in charge of defending the kingdom. With a grim look, the king prepares for the coming war. Elsewhere, a lone person is seen falling through the sky. A new guy with gray hair recalls the game Knight Defense. He remembers the impossible first wave of wild goblins. Without an S-rank knight, that stage was basically unbeatable. Back in the present, he realizes he is slowly descending. He tells his little creature to hang on so they can escape. But they are heading straight for the outer wall of the city. He starts to panic, yelling that they are going to crash. This stone wall gets closer and closer, and he smashes right into the ground with a huge thud. He gets up, complaining about his back, but is somehow fine. Looking at his hands, he realizes this is not an ordinary body. As he puts his boots on, a voice asks who he is. A blonde knight appears, asking if he is another S-rank. An S-rank knight named Rib appears, demanding his name. Jihoon thinks back to how he beat the game's final wave. He remembers Rib was an underused S-rank knight, but he knew she was actually the key to victory, and he was the only one who knew her true potential, so he calls her by name, which completely shocks her. Jihoon explains it took him ages to learn her true value. She was the core of his winning strategy in the game, but now he is on the other side and has to fight her. Rib readies her sword, preparing to attack first. Meanwhile, a monster army begins its assault on the castle. This human soldiers on the walls start to panic. A massive horde of monsters swarms the gates. This archers quickly let loose a volley of arrows. They even throw stones to stop them from climbing the walls. Meanwhile, the castle walls are under a full-blown siege. The soldiers are struggling, asking where their commander is. Then they get word that Sir Ares is on his way, giving them hope. Back inside, a blonde knight confronts a silver-haired young man. She warns him that they are at war and she needs answers. This guy thinks that even an S-rank knight could not beat her up close. So for now, he decides it is probably best to just retreat. He puts on a smile, claiming he is just a lost citizen. But then his little red monster pops out and lets out a roar. This knight immediately recognizes it as a monster. He starts to panic as she connects the dots to the earlier explosion. Now she is convinced he is an accomplice to the attack. He thinks he might be able to escape since she has no ranged attacks. But then she says she understands the situation, which confuses him. Turns out she thinks the monster is chasing him and vows to protect him. This little creature just lets out a confused roar. She just picks up the little guy who keeps on roaring. At that moment, an explosion rocks the castle wall. He uses the distraction to fly away, yelling sorry. Rib is left standing there, wondering where he went. Then a soldier runs up, relieved to have found her. He tells her there is trouble at the main gate. This massive gate is shaking like it is about to burst. All the soldiers behind it are starting to panic. Rib arrives, telling them to prepare for close combat. She rallies the troops to defend the gate at all costs. Outside, a massive monster is leading the charge. Suddenly, a huge crack appears on the main gate. Then a spiky red monster smashes right through the wood. Rib raises her glowing sword and orders everyone to attack, but right behind that monster is an even bigger one. Soon, the entire monster horde is pouring into the city. Just then, Ares finally arrives on the scene. He is furious the gate was breached, calling them all useless. This monsters caught in the blast are instantly burned alive. Ares just smirks, telling them to dance for him. From a cliff nearby, Jihoon watches the battle unfold. He remembers being the only player to clear 100 waves. But now his mission is to destroy the humans within 100 waves. He recalls the moment he finally won the game, and he remembers Rib being there at the very end. But now he is in the monster faction's territory. This is a route that never existed in the game. He finally recalls his little dragon's name, Riseldrake. One of the ants stops, sensing something is wrong. Jihoon thinks his little creature acts just like a cat. But setting that aside, he wonders what to do now. His mission is to build a monster faction. He wonders how he is supposed to gather monsters, but he cannot find any monsters around at all. A voice screams for the human to die as it attacks. Jihoon can only watch in shock as it comes at him, but the attack just swirls right around him. But then he realizes the attack just stopped. He just looks at her and says, "A rabbit." She gets right in his face, yelling at him. She asks why he smells like a monster. But instead of getting hit, a window pops up. It shows he has 2 passive skills for dealing with monsters. Jihoon realizes this is why he can understand her. She points right at him, demanding to know what he is. Then he remembers his likable monster passive skill. It is supposed to make monsters automatically like him. But suddenly, a rope trap snaps around her leg. A group of bandits appears, happy they caught one. Jihoon watches them, wondering if this is a bandit event. She glares at him, furious that he is a human. Now she is convinced he was the one who set the trap. She angrily asks why he is chasing her and what he wants. He tries to tell her it is all a big misunderstanding, but one of the bandits just hands him the rope. A girl with white hair and animal ears flips through the air. A big muscular guy screams and charges right at her. She easily dodges his clumsy attack. She lands a solid punch right in the guy's face, but he just smirks, barely even fazed by the hit. Then she uses his own strength to flip him over. This big guy is totally shocked by her move, and she finishes it with a powerful kick to his chest. Another man calmly notes her surprising power. Jihoon cannot believe she took him down with one kick. He tells her to be obedient and prepares to stomp on her. This leader then turns to Jihoon, calling him strange for causing trouble. A white-haired cat girl is pinned down by humans. A silver-haired kid asks an older guy if he is okay. This older guy says that was a close call in a dangerous area. He then asks the kid what he is doing out here all alone. Nearby, a man is yelling at the captured cat girl. He gets angry and raises his hand to strike her, but the older guy calmly tells the man to stop. This older guy explains that his men can be a bit aggressive. Then his expression turns sinister, asking about the monster. He suddenly grabs the kid, pulling out a knife. He says he would not have bothered if he knew the kid was here. He realizes his whole body is burning up inside. This bandit leader calmly reveals he used poison. Then he holds up the antidote, offering a deal. He grabs the captured fox girl by the head. He wants Jihoon to find out where her people live. This bandit demands to know the location of the fox den. Jihoon has no idea what a fox den even is. Meanwhile, his little dragon is just watching some birds. He explains it is a village where they all live. Jihoon asks why they need to find the village. He knows leading them there would put everyone in danger. Jihoon looks on, blood dripping from his own mouth. This bandit leader grabs her face, yelling at her. Jihoon asks if she was trying to kill herself. She just growls as the man calls her a beast. Another bandit says they need to find the fox den. This bandit scoffs that they do not value their lives. He tells his men to stay back just in case. Jihoon thinks to himself that foxes can sense danger. This bandit tells Jihoon to make her lead them to the den. This guy explains their boss lost something important. Then Jihoon remembers a woman making a false promise. He was bullied, but a girl just used him for money. He thinks as long as he is useful, they will not kill him. And right now, he is determined not to die here, so he tells the bandits he will guide them to the village. He promises that way no one else will get hurt. This bandits are surprised he can actually speak monster language. This beastfolk girl thinks he seems different from other humans. She looks up and asks if she can really trust him. He tells her straight up that he is not on the human side. He says she can trust him because those guys are bad people. Suddenly, one of the bandits calls out to a creature named Rizzle. This creature glows red as the bandit asks why it stopped interpreting. Jihoon coughs up some blood, looking a little stunned. This bandit leader notices Jihoon's entire demeanor has changed. Another bandit spots Rizeldrake, wondering when the monster appeared. Rizeldrake starts charging up a powerful attack. This Arctic fox girl tries to warn the bandits to dodge. Rizeldrake unleashes its dragon breath attack. A beam of energy shoots out, hitting a bandit in the neck. This other bandits can only watch in total shock. Jihoon suddenly coughs up more blood from the strain. His opponents are completely terrified by what just happened. Jihoon wonders if the skill's cooldown is too much for him. This bandit hit by the blast just turns to dust. This other bandits are shocked, realizing the attack melted the grass. One of them is terrified, thinking he almost died before getting married. This leader furiously swings his bat at the little dragon. Jihoon can only watch, his eyes wide with shock. This bat connects, sending Rizeldrake flying through the air. And now the little guy is knocked out cold on the ground. This leader is just mad that the attack messed up his hair. His men wonder if they should capture and sell the creature. This leader tells his guys to watch the prisoners while he handles it. Jihoon thinks about how he has always had to prove his worth to live. It reminds him of his past, always weighing his own value. He remembers trying to survive by just being a coward, but he decides that part of him is no longer needed. He decides he will not regret losing anything ever again. This bandit leader swings his club, calling him a monster, but Jihoon steps in to shield the Arctic fox girl. He decides what is not needed as a passive skill activates. It is a skill that gives him strength beyond any human. This bandit realizes Jihoon is the one who is not needed. His raw power leaves the other bandits horrified. This leader is on the ground, his face completely smashed in. This rest of the bandits flee, smashing the antidote. She knows he was poisoned, wondering how he can even move. Jihoon is on his knees, holding his little dragon. He realizes Rizeldrake did all of that just to save him. This little guy just nuzzles him, looking weak but happy. Jihoon says that looking at him reminds him of someone. He flashes back to memories of his only friend. Looking at Rizeldrake, he calls him his friend now. This other bandits start yelling threats about their boss, but Jihoon just gives them an ice-cold stare, so they just yell a final threat and run away. Jihoon looks down at his dragon, the strain showing. Then he finally collapses onto the ground. Jihoon collapses and little red foxes poke at him curiously. He starts to lose consciousness, thinking he is going to die. One of the tiny creatures looks on, worried about him. Then he flashes back to a memory of his mom. He remembers being left all alone by someone he hated. It seems like he was abandoned and no one ever came for him. But back in the present, his eyes slowly flutter open. This fox girl is there, asking him why he saved her. She carries him through the darkness, lighting the way with a torch. They arrive at a village and someone shouts that she is back with a human. A group of bunny-eared beastfolk peek over a wall at him. They think he seems strange but also feel drawn to him. Later, they watch over him, waiting for him to wake up. Jihoon is actually awake but is too embarrassed to move. This fox girl asks the curious bunny folk for some space. A voice from the doorway asks Rhea if a human saved her. Jihoon hears this as he slowly starts to wake up. A woman with white hair asks if he is finally awake. She explains it is their first time seeing a human, but she adds that he does not actually smell like one. This woman tells him the village had an antidote, then he remembers he almost led those bandits here. A quick shot shows he has some surprisingly sharp fangs. He asks Rhea why she decided to save him. She just says it is because he does not smell human. Jihoon wonders if his likable monster skill is at work. She gets annoyed, calling him a handful even after being saved. Jihoon quietly says thank you to his little dragon. He then bows to the fox girl, thanking her for her help. She gets a bit flustered, saying he saved her too. Suddenly, Jihoon hears a sound and asks what it is. This little guy nuzzles his face and Jihoon laughs. She decides it is time they finally introduce themselves. But a bunny girl interrupts, looking for someone named Rhea. Jihoon looks around, amazed to be in the beastfolk village. It is a village for rabbit beastfolk who lost their homes. As they walk, other villagers ask Rhea about her leg. A big bull man scolds Rhea for going near humans. Jihoon points out that all the villagers seem to care about her. He then asks why she has been looking so down. She suddenly snaps at him, catching him completely off guard. Turns out she is annoyed that he keeps calling her hey. She stands there looking pretty ticked off about it. He finally realizes and introduces himself as Jihoon. Jihoon awkwardly asks if his name sounds weird here, then she just tells him to call her Rhea. Rhea says her leg is all better now after being treated. Jihoon notices she is suddenly in a much better mood. Then a quest pops up to build a monster faction. This fox girl tells Jihoon to hurry up and see the chief. Jihoon is annoyed she is calling him hey after asking his name. As he runs, he wonders if he can build a monster faction. But the village chief just tells him he is taking over. Both Jihoon and the fox girl are completely stunned. This chief just says he is too old and walks off. She argues it is crazy to trust a stranger over a dream. But the chief will not listen and she is not having it. This chief then explains that his dreams always come true. And his dreams showed that Jihoon is the one who will save them. A quest window pops up, confirming this is his mission. Jihoon realizes saving the village means it is in danger. He then remembers the bandits were looking for something their boss lost. He starts sweating, realizing the potential danger, so he quickly calls out to Rhea to get her attention. Jihoon asks if she was followed on her way here. It is protected by a huge mountain range and the sea. She explains there is only one way in, a secret tunnel, and that tunnel is a confusing, maze-like structure, so she is sure that finding the village is impossible. Jihoon says he did not notice anything, but Rhea looks worried. He suddenly gets a really bad feeling about this. Meanwhile, a creepy guy is listening in from a cave. He steps out of the tunnel, having found the village. Suddenly, someone starts screaming about a human in their village. Jihoon and Rhea are shocked to hear the commotion. It is that same guy and he's been caught by the villagers. This captured bandit reveals they followed Rhea's blood trail. She's completely shocked, realizing she led them right here. But the big bull man tells her not to blame herself. He says it was hard enough carrying Jihoon while injured. This other villagers gather around, trying to comfort her. Jihoon suddenly asks what happened to the other two bandits. At that moment, the captured guy starts yelling threats. He boasts that their boss, Scream Spike, is coming for them, and he is bringing 200 men to destroy the entire village. Meanwhile, the other two bandits are walking through a cave. This one Jihoon beat up is calling out for his boss. He is demanding revenge against the guy who hit him. This boss, a huge shadowy guy, just listens silently. Then the injured bandit yells that he has found their secret tunnel. Elsewhere, a huge bandit leader praises his little brother. He smirks, saying they are heading to the fox tunnel now. Another one of his underlings looks on with a sinister grin. This captured bandit reveals this was all part of the plan. In a flashback, he tried to get his injured brother to stop, but his brother insisted they return to the hideout first. He saw Jihoon's collapse as the perfect opportunity. Now the captured bandit tells them they are all as good as dead. She turns to Jihoon, asking for some kind of explanation. Jihoon grimly states that the bandits found the village. Jihoon remembers the name of the bandit group, Scream Spike. It reminds him of a game he used to play called Night Defense. In that game, the knights could not stop the endless monster waves. It was a system where you formed a party to clear stages. He does not remember all of them, but one comes to mind. He recalls that every stage had its own backstory, but he is certain there was never a stage called Warren. And according to the game, this place gets destroyed. Jihoon knows the beastfolk do not understand the full threat, but the fear in the bandit's voice is getting to them. Rhea tells Jihoon that because of her, their village will be massacred. This bandit begs the bull man to untie him. Jihoon decides he cannot let this village be destroyed. This bandit yells at them, asking if they all want to die. Jihoon calmly tells him this place will be his stronghold. And he punches the bandit right in the face. This guy lets out a pained gasp as he goes down. All the other villagers are just as shocked by the sudden violence. Jihoon stands over the unconscious bandit, done with his threats. He turns to the villagers and says they are going to fight. It is the bull man who tells Jihoon to look around. He explains their village is full of women and children who cannot fight. Rhea tells the chief his dreams are indeed remarkable. Rieseldrake then flies over the crowd to make an announcement. He declares that Jihoon is now the chief of Warren. Their leader, Scream Spike, has arrived at the entrance. He looks at the mountains, planning to take the village. He declares this place will be their new hideout. With that, his massive army charges forward. Back in the village, the bull man assesses their situation. He starts counting their forces, starting with 3 bull beastfolk. Then he adds the 2 deer beastfolk to the list. And of course, there is the 1 fox beastfolk, Rhea. Jihoon asks if they can win, facing nearly double their numbers. Jihoon realizes this is not about numbers, but individual stats. He remembers how Rhea easily took down a bandit. He figures she could probably win a 2-on-1 fight, but he was told the beastfolk have never really fought. Then he realizes they have a hidden power, beastification. If everyone is as strong as Rhea, they might have a chance. So he asks the bull man Tor just how strong she is. Jihoon feels hopeful, thinking this mission is possible. As Rhea plays with Riseldrake, Tor thinks about his answer. He says that Rhea is the village's greatest warrior, and even if all the villagers attacked at once, this weight of that statement starts to sink in for Jihoon. He realizes this means everyone else is completely useless. Tor confirms the entire village is weaker than her. Jihoon thinks about who could be a match for Rhea. Rhea is confused and asks how he knows that. Turns out he just interrogated the captured bandit. He then remembers the bandits were looking for something. Jihoon asks Rhea if she knows what it might be, but she says their village has nothing of value. He figures they just needed an excuse to attack. Just then, the bull man asks him for a plan, and he identifies Rhea as the strongest in the village. In fact, none of the other villagers can even beat her. Jihoon tries to gauge their strength, wishing he could see stats. He remembers his passive skill, Ruler's Eye. He recalls that in games you just say status. So he strikes a pose and yells out the command. Rhea just stands there looking at him, very confused. He gets flustered, remembering inventory is also a command. He guesses the name is different because he is a monster. This makes him remember something he'd forgotten in the chaos. He left his powerful sword behind. It is still sitting in the ruins of the palace. He is so mad at himself for not putting it in his inventory. Now he realizes he cannot go back and get it. Rhea snaps him out of it, saying they need a plan now. She feels this is all her fault and asks for his instructions. Then she declares she wants to protect her home and the villagers. Jihoon looks at Rhea, knowing they do not have much time. Suddenly, he realizes there is another way to see stats. A massive red window appears and Rhea has no idea what it is. Jihoon remembers his skill lets him check the stats of others. He realizes he just has to focus on a target to activate it. He is shocked to see that Rhea is actually a B rank. That is the same level as a middle grade knight. While Rhea tries talking to him, he confirms her skill is beastification, but he is distracted by a heart icon on her stat screen. As she promises to help him, the heart icon pulses. He notices his favorability with the villagers is going down. Then his hand moves on its own and pokes Rhea's nose. Jihoon panics, trying to explain it was not on purpose, but Rhea is absolutely furious, yelling that she cannot accept this. Taking charge, Jihoon tells Tor to gather all the villagers. He tries to play it cool, but he is clearly embarrassed. Soon, a long line of villagers forms for inspection. A little sheep beastfolk steps up, saying he is the last one. Jihoon is exhausted, realizing checking stats drains his stamina. Using his special eye, he sees Riseldrake as S rank, but its powerful dragon breath can only be used every 2 days. He then sees Tor as C rank, but everyone else is E rank. And he remembers the bandit hideout stage was C rank difficulty. He compares their small force to the bandits' army. He clenches his fist, thinking it is impossible to win. But then he reminds himself this is not a game. This is reality with things that cannot be measured. He turns to Rhea and Tor to explain his strategy. Meanwhile, the bandit army is marching through the forest. They decide to rush back and warn the village chief. A bandit leader reveals they knew they were being watched. He grabs the terrified girl, her face covered in blood, but the bandit leader stops his men from chasing her. This rabbit scout runs desperately toward the village cave. Rhea is shocked to see the scout, Rain, covered in blood. Rain stumbles forward, screaming that the humans are here. She warns everyone that the bandits are right behind her. He rallies his men, telling them to finish by sunset. Rhea asks if the plan will work, and he says it is crucial. He says he will personally handle the one who punched him. Then the ground beneath the entire army starts to crack. This bandits cautiously make their way into a dark cave. This ground completely collapses under their feet. Many of them fall into a deep pit trap below. The survivors realize the villagers have set up traps. It is a classic pitfall trap covered with wood and dirt. One of the men insists there were no traps here yesterday. They are all too scared to move forward now. His subordinates warn him it is too dangerous. It looks like he is just going to brute force his way through. A bandit's foot smashes a trap. The leader asks how he knew where they were. He explains the cave was carved from a stone mountain. So the traps are just dirt and wood covering holes. He says if you look carefully, you can spot the difference. This areas with more gravel are where the traps are. He tells his men to avoid the traps and keep moving. Watching from a corner, Rhea panics that they found the traps, but Jihoon just smiles, saying it is all going to plan. He explains that digging proper traps would take too long, so he reveals that only 2 of the traps are actually deep. This rest of them are just fakes to buy some time. Now the bandits will be super cautious, slowing them down, and with that they head to the next defensive point. Suddenly, a loud cracking sound echoes from the cave wall. This leader's brother remembers the map, saying to go right at the fork, but the leader is confused, not recalling any fork in the road. They arrive to find 3 identical tunnels, not a simple fork. Now the bandits are arguing over which path is the right one. This leader scoffs, saying these simple tricks cannot stop them. He realizes the villagers are just trying to buy time, so he decides there is no need to give them that time. He orders his men to split into 3 groups in advance. His brother Crane will take the left tunnel with his squad. A big guy named Dump is assigned the middle tunnel. Meanwhile, Jihoon's group hits a dead end and has to turn back. But in the middle tunnel, Dump's men spot a light up ahead. This bandit leader's brother rallies his men with a giant hammer. One of them points ahead, seeing they have reached the end of the cave. Meanwhile, the main leader smirks, thinking he has cornered the villagers. He has got Tor in his grasp and orders his men to kill everyone. This bandits charge forward, ready for a fight. It turns out the cave exit just leads them back into the forest. They have been led out of a completely different cave entrance. At the same time, the brothers' group finds the real village. He tells a subordinate to go back and inform the boss. But then one of his men spots something in the distance. It is the merchant cargo tied to a tree as bait. Then they see the entire beastfolk army marching towards them. This brother unties Cargo, who panics, asking where the boss is. This bandit leader asks his brother why there are so few troops. It is Rhea who slams down with a powerful attack. She crushes the scout before he can warn the others. His plan was to use fake traps to buy time. This also made the bandits underestimate them and split up. This villagers have them completely ambushed from the trees. This page shows a recruitment ad for the scanlation team. This bandit leader roars for his men to kill them all. His army charges toward the small group of beastfolk. This leader raises his hammer to crush a rabbit girl. This bandit's brother realizes they can use this in combat. Tor, in his beast form, leaps out from the smoke. He crashes down hard right in the middle of the bandits. His powerful feet stomp the ground with immense force. A bandit looks up, completely stunned by the sudden attack. A beastfolk lands a massive punch right on a bandit's face. Another bandit runs for his life from Tor, cursing the rabbit. Meanwhile, some guys are just beating on a fluffy sheep. They are confused because their attacks do nothing at all. Suddenly, 2 bandits get hit by some kind of hot embers. It turns out to be a tiny floating fox creature spitting fire, but his expression sours as he hears something he does not like. A bandit uses his own man as a shield to advance. Seeing this, Jihoon tells Rhea to go help them out. Jihoon seems a little surprised by just how fast she is. This bandits are stunned as Rhea closes the distance in a flash. One of them takes aim with a crossbow, ready to shoot her down. She sees it reflected in her eye at the last second. She twists her body, narrowly dodging the attack. Rhea launches herself into a flying kick at a big bandit, but the guy just smirks, thinking her attack is weak. He follows up with a powerful kick to her head. She lands a brutal punch right on the guy's jaw. A wolf girl lands a devastating kick on a bandit. She warns them not to underestimate the beastfolk, so he decides it is time to activate a skill. Apparently, only C-rank knights or higher can use skills. His skill is a strength enhancement, buffing him by 50%, and it is Tor towering over him in his beast form. Even he seems surprised by how powerful that was. Meanwhile, back in the cave, a drop of water falls. He is wondering why none of the other groups have returned. He tries to calm himself down, trusting his boss. Then he decides to go check on Dump's group himself. But it is too late. All 60 of those bandits were captured. Jihoon looks at the captured men buried up to their necks, so he calls Tor over to give him an order. He is giving all the captured human weapons to the villagers. One of them even grabs a massive war hammer. Now fully armed, the villagers look ready for a real fight. Jihoon then activates his ruler's eye to check their stats. He sees that their attack power has nearly doubled. Jihoon is genuinely shocked by how much stronger they are. Meanwhile, the other bandit group finally reaches the cave exit. Then he sees all his captured men buried up to their necks. He starts screaming in terror at the sight of all the heads. A bandit is stunned to find his captured comrades are still alive. He rushes over, promising to get them out of the holes. But then little rabbit warriors leap out to ambush him. Meanwhile, the main bandit leader is rushing through the cave. One of his men spots a passage that looks like the right way. This leader steps forward, coming to a fork in the path. He suddenly senses a trap and yells for everyone to back away. One of his men panics, shouting that the ground is collapsing. This leader himself loses his footing and starts to fall. But it was a false alarm. One of his subordinates just tripped. This guy who fell asks the leader's brother what happened. He grabs the brother's arm, calling him boss. This main leader just walks up and knocks the guy out cold. This bandit leader's brother is confused by the stone floor. Meanwhile, the main boss realizes the traps were all fake. This is Scream Spike, and he is ready to kill them all. Just then, one of his scouts comes running back in a panic. He tells the boss they finally found the right tunnel. He explains how they could have just broken a wall. A map shows how they looped back to the entrance. Now he knows they just have to hold out one last time, but one of the captured bandits spits out his gag. He tells Jihoon it is over when their boss gets there. He boasts that his brother, Scream Spike, is way stronger. This wolf girl just kicks the guy to shut him up. Rhea reports to Jihoon that they have about 65 fighters left, though he does complain that his sword is too heavy. This main bandit leader finally steps out with his men. His brother, still buried in the ground, calls out to him. This leader just looks down, calling them all pathetic fools. He then glares at Jihoon, asking if this was his scheme. Jihoon calmly asks if he could call it a strategy instead. He says their 2 victories were sweet, but there will not be a third. He clarifies it as a threat, holding a blade to the brother's neck. He tells them to drop their weapons or the hostage dies. Jihoon knows this is a desperate move, but he has to try. He unleashes a powerful aura, ordering them all to kneel. This bandit leader just activated an area-wide buff skill. Even Tor and Rhea can feel the sudden surge of power. These two armies charge at each other for the final fight. With their new buff, the bandits are overwhelming the villagers. A small rabbit warrior stands against a massive bandit. This bandit swings his huge club down at the rabbit, but another rabbit warrior jumps in to help. These two little rabbit warriors are frozen in fear. He just grabs one of them by the head, laughing. But then a beastfolk sends a bandit flying with a war hammer. This bandits try to tie up the beastfolk with whips. He gets dragged forward, losing his footing. Now that he is down, the others rush into attack. Even the tiny cat warriors are being shot at. Jihoon realizes that even with their new power, they are losing. Turns out, Rhea is busy kicking a bandit's weapon away. But the fight is clearly starting to wear her out. This attack smashes into the ground with incredible force, and it is Rhea who gets knocked down by the shockwave. Jihoon realizes that at this rate, they are going to lose. He decides there is only one way to win this fight, but even Tor is getting beaten down by the bandits. This triggers a flashback to a conversation he had with Tor. He told Tor to save his final transformation for his signal. Back in the present, a bandit orders his men to finish Tor. They all surround him, ready for the final blow, but Tor roars, deciding to awaken his power now. Jihoon gives the signal and they both charge forward. He says they have 3 minutes to take down the boss. Scream Spike just smirks, beckoning them to come at him. Tor lets out a huge roar in his new form. He grabs one of the bandits and flings him around, but Scream Spike just tells the guy to let go of the rope. Tor ignores him and just slams the guy into the ground. This impact is so strong it kicks up a huge dust cloud. Scream Spike is completely unimpressed by Tor's power. He just looks down at them with a creepy smile. Just then, Jihoon leaps in for a surprise attack. But the boss easily catches his sword with 2 fingers. He does not even flinch as he steps forward. He knew his combat power was lower than Rhea's or Tor's, but he places his hand on the ground ready for something. This activates one of his passive skills. Turns out, when he fights humans, his stats get a huge boost. He uses this new power to punch the leader in the face. Jihoon just lays into Scream Spike with a powerful blow. He stands over the bandit leader, telling him he warned him, but Scream Spike just smiles, saying there will not be a third win. He gets back up, popping his own neck back into place. Scream Spike stands over Jihoon, forcing him to his knees. He holds him down, telling him he cannot get up. This beastfolk warriors watch in horror. An arrow hits her right in the leg as she runs. She is shocked but keeps pushing forward anyway. Scream Spike smirks, saying it is already too late for them. One of his men yells for everyone to listen up. He then declares that the war is officially over. With a wicked grin, Scream Spike gives a single order. He tells his men to burn everything to the ground, and just like that, flaming torches fly into the village. One of the cat warriors screams in terror. This rabbit villagers can only watch as their home burns. Scream Spike tells Jihoon that war is not a simple game. He says that the losing side loses everything. Scream Spike says they are about to lose their homes, then he lifts him up, saying he will lose his life too. Rhea watches in horror, still stuck with an arrow in her leg. This bandit leader just smirks, telling him it is all over. But Jihoon thinks to himself that he cannot lose. A system window reveals his true purpose. Jihoon grits his teeth, absolutely refusing to lose. This rabbit warriors watch this, looking horrified, and suddenly Scream Spike is sent flying backwards. She did not use her power even when her life was on the line. As he is pinned down, he finally understands why. Her awakening skill only works under the moonlight, and just like that, Rhea appears in her awakened form. This archer who shot her is now screaming in pain. Jihoon gives her a simple order: take out all the bandits. Rhea calmly accepts her new mission. She moves so fast she's just a blur on the battlefield. A bandit yells at her, angry she hurt his friend. Then she unleashes a devastatingly fast counterattack. This bandit she attacked is now buried up to his neck. Rhea then kicks a massive chunk of earth at another group. This other bandits cannot believe their boss was taken down. Turns out Scream Spike's stat draining field effect is gone. Because it is night, all monsters get a 20% stat boost. Tor roars as he feels his power surging. One of the rabbit villagers calls for a counterattack. Everyone gets fired up, ready to drive the humans out. This bandits start to panic, realizing they cannot win now. Jihoon looks on as his people finally fight back, and many of the beastfolk were killed or hurt. He cannot help but think he could have done more. But Rhea tells him he does not have to do it all alone. She saw him fighting as hard as he possibly could. He refused to give up, even when he was beaten. She tells him he did his best with what he had. She then places a hand on her arm, looking serious. Rhea asks him to take care of the village as its chief. She says she will help clean up, then quickly runs away. Just then, a system window confirms his quest is complete. He is rewarded with a random skill for building his faction. He accepts the reward and learns weapon refining. Someone on a roof calls down to Jihoon and Rhea. So the kid plops the food right onto Jihoon's head. Turns out the food storage was safe, but it is only carrots. He asks Rhea if she is a carnivore, but she just denies it. Then he turns and asks Rhea how her leg is doing. She says she is fine and ready to help rebuild the village. 2 weeks later, the village is well on its way to being rebuilt. During that time, they also held funerals for everyone they lost. They also had to decide what to do with 55 captured bandits. These villagers were furious and wanted to execute them all, but taking the lives of helpless prisoners was not an easy choice. So after a lot of debate, they decided to release them. They watch as the bandits are sent away on a small raft, but the bandits on the raft seem to be in a panic. A note reveals these were the bandits the kingdom could not even catch, and that is why they are panicking. The sea is full of monsters. Jihoon just hopes they will be punished by the kingdom if they survive. He finally figured out why the bandits were after their village. He and Rhea had gone to check her house, which was still standing. Inside, he used his ruler's eye skill to inspect something. He found a bunch of different enhancement stones just hanging there. It turns out to be a B-rank enhancement stone. He is shocked, but Rhea does not even know what they are. He then finds some mysterious sacks hanging in a warehouse. It turns out fox beastfolk like Rhea love shiny objects. They collect them for good luck and hide them in their homes. Jihoon finally realizes this is why the bandits attacked them. Because of this, Rhea had been blaming herself for the attack. She even tried to throw all the gems into the ocean. But Jihoon stopped her, saying it was not her fault at all. And suddenly, her affection level for him shoots up to 60. He tells her he will keep the gems safe for now. This whole war has made Jihoon more determined than ever. Looking over the village, he knows they must get stronger. It is a small beast folk sorting through a pile of gems. Jihoon sees a rack of swords and says he will test something. He explains he is going to test his luck with a gem. Then he activates his new skill, weapon refining. But Jihoon is happy because the enhancement was a success. He then checks out Scream Spike's old B-rank dagger. He was supposed to just throw all of them out, so she grabs him, yelling about why he broke them. He then points to a whole pile of upgraded weapons. Even Tor's hammer got a massive power boost. He then lets out a roar, feeling its new power. Jihoon asks if he can use it, but Tor seems to be struggling. This hammer's attack power now surpasses a B-rank weapon. Jihoon looks a bit down, and Rhea asks why his mood changed. He sighs, wondering how his old sword is doing now. Two people walk past a giant hole left from the invasion. A woman with glowing glasses senses an ominous aura from it. Inside, a knight named Ares tries to pull out a huge sword. His men are stunned that even he could not pull the sword out. Ares just stares at the mysterious sword, now glowing on its own. He realizes it is just like the party system from a game. Jihoon gets ready to go recruit, but Tor stops him. Tor says he needs to stay behind to protect the village. If he did, the village would be left completely defenseless. But he still wants to fill his 4 party slots for the bonus. He decides to leave Tor and looks for other members. He knows most of their stats are pretty much the same, so he and Rhea hold auditions for an expedition team. They are looking for strong adventurers with special skills. He just says he wants to stay, so Jihoon dismisses him. This next group's only skill is planting carrots. They give him some kind of secret instruction. So Tor tells the crowd only serious people should stay. Then he calls in the next person to be judged. This auditions are taking place in a half-built building. A rabbit girl named Rain eagerly applies for the team. While Jihoon thinks it over, Rhea gives her a pass. She then tells them she was the only one who applied. This party is just Jihoon, Rhea, and the new girl, Rain. She just realized they are going after the terrifying lizard tribe. They had been discussing which monsters to rally. Turns out he's going to be out for a whole month. Tor says human invasions wiped out all nearby monster villages. Rhea mentions some might be hiding, but Jihoon needs more. She agrees they need strong monsters to fight the humans. Tor then brings up a tribe that has not surrendered yet, but he warns they are very independent and do not make allies. In fact, they are so feared other monsters avoid their land. He remembers them as tough monsters from the later waves. But he realizes that at this stage, they are strong for humans too. He thinks about making these powerful monsters his allies now. Jihoon gets fired up and asks Tor for their location. Tor pulls out a map showing a long journey ahead. Rhea, on the other hand, easily finds an enhancement stone. She pulls out her scouting records to find their location. But she is too late as Jihoon just yells at the sky. Rain tells herself to be patient and wait for her chance. And it does as a giant boulder blocks their path. She suddenly awakens, turning into a giant pink rabbit. Rhea asks why she awakened, but Rain says it was a mistake. He then remembers seeing her during the village attack. Jihoon asks if she is the same kid from back then. At that moment, the footsteps get much closer. She says it is not just a few, but a huge group. Rain runs to the edge of the cliff to see where. They are all marching towards where the humans live. Jihoon wonders if they are attacking the royal palace. As they run off, Rain yells that her bag is too heavy. He then tries to use his inventory skill on her bag. It turns out her bag counts as a single item. Now they need to figure out what this wave is. Meanwhile, in a city, a war bell starts to ring. People are panicking as monsters swarm the city. This crowd cheers as the knights march into the city. A little girl asks her mom why monsters attack them. Her mom says monsters are just evil and violent. Rhea points out that it seems to be flying the wrong way. But Rizzle suddenly loses all its strength. Jihoon screams as they plummet towards the ground. Jihoon sits up in the dust, asking if Rizzle is okay. This little dragon seems perfectly fine, much to his relief. He then stands up, realizing they landed near the kingdom. They ask him what is wrong, but he just stares ahead. He is looking at the rat tribe, and they are all dead. It looks like they were all stabbed or cut down. He has seen a pile of corpses just like this one. Back then, seeing so much death was a huge shock. Rain is confused, saying this is not where they were headed. Just then, they hear a cough and spot a survivor. Rhea applies some kind of healing salve to the wound, but the rat monster spots Jihoon and is terrified. Rhea holds him back as he yells that humans attacked them. This rat realizes Jihoon feels more like a monster. This rat says they were attacked by armored humans. Their commander then gave the order to attack. A flashback shows the rat tribe being slaughtered by knights. Monsters were sent flying from the powerful attacks. This rat tribe's leader says humans destroyed 8 of their villages. On the other side, human archers line the castle walls. Their commander taunts the monsters, daring them to attack. This rat leader roars that the attack happens tonight. This monster army charges forward, seeking revenge for their dead. They arrive at the gates of the massive human fortress. Back in the present, they find a clue about a human with a lip ring. A survivor begins to explain the real reason for the attack, and he did it all just to get a small purple stone. Jihoon cannot believe they'd kill so many for one stone. This entire army roars ready to kill the humans. His arrows tear through the front lines of the army. He then tells his archers to aim for the leader. But the rat tribe's leader activates a skill. He summons a huge flame wall to block the attack. He used it to try and stop the humans himself. Jihoon just stands there thinking there is no one to blame. His friends used his dad's position to get what they wanted. Everyone else in the class just pretended not to see. He remembers the shock and helplessness he felt back then. In the present, he concludes humans only care for themselves. Meanwhile, the rat tribe's leader screams for an all-out attack. A huge attack blasts him from the castle walls. This rat leader gets hit by a volley of arrows, but he keeps pushing forward, fueled by his tribe's pain. He gathers all his remaining energy for one last strike. Then he unleashes it all towards the castle walls. A monster at the gate is about to self-destruct, but a female knight activates a skill with her sword. She fires a beam of light right at the explosion. Her attack, a flash strike, pierces through the blast. A massive explosion erupts at the castle gate. Rizal explains that the Rat King is a suicide bomber. Jihoon realizes a single S-rank knight could handle it. This attack only managed to damage the castle walls. Jihoon thinks about all the pain they must have felt. He remembers Tor saying the victims were women and children. Their strongest warriors had already gone for revenge. This monster attacks were a direct result of human greed. If he'd accepted, he would have been part of the slaughter. He is still human, but he has decided on his own path. But the monster faction's goal is to destroy all humans. He wants to find the lizard tribe to build his forces. He explains the monster waves are actually human massacres. He says the massacres will not stop until all monsters are gone, so he needs to bring down the kingdom before that happens. This scene then shifts to a large monster settlement. Rhea agrees, saying taking down the humans is the path for everyone. She tells Jihoon she could tell his anger was just like theirs. She recalls how he refused to give up against the bandits, but she points out that rallying the lizard tribe is not enough. To take down the humans, they need powerful monsters. They also saw their friends killed by humans. These monsters were completely powerless to resist. She always felt helpless because her tribe is so weak. She remembers when Jihoon killed that human chief. Seeing that made her happy, and she made a decision. She decided to follow him even if she is not strong. He thinks they have the same goal for different reasons, and Jihoon agrees, determined to bring peace to the world. They step forward through the blood of their fallen. It turns out they were listening in the whole time. Then a huge rat monster steps up, wanting to join too. So the very next morning, they get ready to leave. He gives the new rat leader a map to find Tor. After leaving the rat tribe, they head for the swamp. On the way, they stop to play in a river. These girls have to pump all the water out of him. It is the king slime leading an army toward the kingdom. This slime warns him they will all die that way. This entire slime tribe was migrating to a new cave, and he gets a massive boost in his points for it. Rain sees this as her chance to finally be useful. He complains he is sick of them, asking for anything else. Jihoon says it has been so long since he has tasted sweetness. But Rain says carrots are better and offers to cook. Later that night, a familiar, delicious smell fills the air. She explains that cooking is her hobby and she is happy to help. But a moment later, Jihoon suddenly yells out Rain's name. He asks what she is eating, but she just points behind them. A massive green hand reaches down toward her. It tries to grab the pot and burns its hand. Jihoon wonders how it can even survive, so Jihoon activates one of his skills. He sees they are both high-level B-rank monsters. He then asks a girl with fox ears to join him, but a dark elf suddenly attacks her from behind. This attacker is revealed to be a dark elf. He reaches out with a hand cloaked in dark energy. Then he lunges forward and grabs the fox girl. This girl yells his name as he activates a skill. This elf gets knocked back by Jihoon's surprise attack. He is shocked by the immense magic coming from Jihoon's dagger. This elf asks why Jihoon is attacking him. Jihoon instantly recognizes the attack he is preparing. It is a powerful diagonal dark slash. This elf is stunned, wondering how Jihoon knew his blind spot. Jihoon asks why they are being attacked. This elf says they attacked the ogres, which confuses Jihoon. This elf points out the wounds and the scream he heard. Jihoon explains the scream was from touching the hot pot. So Jihoon asks the ogre directly, who seems to agree. He tells the elf to listen, but the elf is not convinced. This elf asks the ogres, and they seem to blame Jihoon. This elf refuses to listen and attacks with his sword. This elf is shocked by the power coming from the dagger. Jihoon is shocked, realizing he just landed a critical hit. He cannot believe how strong that attack was. She feels the binding spell on her start to weaken. Just then, the fox girl breaks free and yells at him. This elf holds a blade to Jihoon, talking about village rules. She tells him to confess and ask the ogres for forgiveness, but Jihoon says that is what he has been trying to do. This elf is stunned by Jihoon's sudden change in aura. Jihoon then smacks him, yelling that he did not do it. This ogre's watch as the elf named Leo gets knocked out. Leo cannot believe the binding spell did not work on him, but he manages to grab Jihoon's wrist, stopping the dagger. At the same time, the fox girl grabs him from behind. Jihoon realizes the elf's paralysis skill is a cheat. It only has a 100% success rate on lower-grade targets. This makes Jihoon check his own stats to be sure. He sees his stats are all focused on critical damage. At least he knows he has avoided the worst-case scenario. Since the elf is a rank, Jihoon must be higher. This others look on, asking Jihoon what to do now. He remembers leaving home to become the greatest warrior, so the elf agrees to help find the real culprit. It is a knight in full armor insulting some nearby ogres, but the gray-haired man recognizes his silver lip ring. His eyes glow as he identifies the killer of the rat tribe, and now that same knight is walking toward Jihoon's camp. He spots Leo and identifies him as a dark elf. This knight smirks, thinking this will be a valuable hunt. Leo asks if he is the one who raided the rat tribe village. He asks if he is also the one who hurt the ogres. A closer look reveals his gauntlet is covered in blood. He grits his teeth, finally piecing everything together, and then he dashes forward to attack the knight. He realized he could not win even at the same rank. He lunged forward, stabbing at the man's neck, but the man just grabs Leo's arm to stop him. He looks down, shocked to see his sword is broken. But then a new guy in armor attacks Leo from above. This new guy grabs Leo and lifts him into the air. This attacker glares at him, holding the blade steady. He says he got a bit excited and cannot break his merchandise. Leo is on the ground, barely able to make a sound, and so is the fox girl, though he calls her low value. He tells them he knows how popular monster shows are. He explains that people go crazy for monster shows. This knight is surprised Jihoon has never heard of them. Then the gray-haired man says he recognizes the knight. This knight lists off his prizes, including a traitor. He says the traitor has a bounty from the king. This gray-haired man pulls out a gunblade to fight. He rushes forward and punches the knight hard. This gray-haired man asks if this is the king's command. This knight grabs him, saying the king's word is absolute. He wants his opponent to be evil to ease his conscience. He calls his words fitting for a traitor. It hits the knight's arm, making him cry out in pain. Turns out the fox girl was the one who attacked him. Leo just watches from the ground, still pretty beat up. Jihoon thinks about how he can get more experience for Rhea. He tells the fox girl Rizzle to get ready just in case. This knight calls them uncivilized and starts casting a spell. Rocks and dirt start flying up, gathering around his arm. Jihoon immediately recognizes it as an earth-type skill. This knight forms a giant rock fist, angry about his armor. He then unleashes his Fist of Earth attack. It smashes right into the ground where they were standing. Jihoon notes that while the attack is strong, it is also slow, but he seems to have another thought on his mind. This fox girl Rhea transforms, knowing a long fight is bad. She immediately leaps from the treetops to attack. This knight with the rock fist just taunts her to come on. He throws a huge punch, but she easily dodges it. Leo is completely stunned by her incredible power. She says it is not much, but it is all she can do. Even one of the ogres is amazed by her speed. Jihoon knows she is only keeping up because of her skills, but he also knows her transformation has a time limit, and right then the knight prepares another massive attack. This fox girl Rhea is furious at being called merchandise. With her eyes closed, she wonders if this is the end. Jihoon watches, worried he might hit her if he attacks. He holds up a small red creature, getting it ready. He decides to use its area attack to save Rhea's life. This knight tells him to move or he will destroy everything. But Leo says he will have to take his life first. He declares he cannot lose and then he lunges forward. This knight just scoffs, saying dark elf magic is useless. This knight slams him down, saying his life has value. He then turns to Rhea, saying beasts need to be beaten, but Leo stabs him in the side with his broken sword. Jihoon watches, wondering why Leo is pushing himself so hard. This knight grabs Leo, telling him to just give up. He lifts him up, calling him part of an inferior race. He had promised to come back stronger for his father. He throws a small, dark object toward Leo. Jihoon tells him he can borrow it for the fight. Leo is shocked to feel his magic power overflowing. Leo channels all that power into his dagger. He manages to stab the knight right in the chest. Then he starts laughing, calling the attack pathetic. Jihoon analyzes the attack from the side. He notes the diagonal slash from upper right to lower left, but Leo is not done and lets out a huge yell. He unleashes a new skill called Dark Slash. This powerful slash cuts right through the forest. This bunny girl and Rhea can only watch in shock. A huge cloud of dark energy rises into the night sky. Leo's attack carved a massive trench through the forest. Leo confirms he is the one who unleashed that attack. He then gets into a ready stance, preparing to fight again. Looking down, he sees his hand is glowing with red energy. This bunny girl Rain is told to go treat Leo and Rhea. Meanwhile, the knight is on the ground, angry he lost, and he warns the knight not to lie to his questions. He asks how many soldiers the kingdom has in total. We see a flashback of him kneeling in the throne room. So their job is to find enhancement stones and iron ore. It is basically like a party formed for an adventure quest. For his next question, he asks about 2 elite knights. He wants to know how many skills those 2 can use. This knight explains you get more skills as you level up. He says both of them are known to use 2 skills. One of the ogres doubts they can succeed with just their group. This 2 ogres get distracted by the cute red creature. He reveals there are not just 2 elite knights. He recalls that in the game, the max number of knights was 7. But they are only on wave 6, so this should not be happening. This knight says he personally knows of at least 4. He thinks about how in reality repairs should take a long time. Then he realizes why the kingdom can wage war so often. A flashback shows a castle wall being instantly repaired by magic. A healer then tells all the injured soldiers to line up. This knight explains one of them has a mass healing skill. Not only that, but it also buffs all their stats. This powerful skill belongs to a healer named Acker. On top of that, there are at least 4 S-rank knights. Jihoon realizes this is an impossible situation for the kingdom, but for him it is like playing on extreme hell difficulty. He tells the knight he seems pretty shocked by all this. He asks what a legendary knight is and how he was summoned. Just as the knight is about to answer, a light flashes above. He looks up to see several bright lights in the sky. Suddenly, a volley of arrows rains down from the cliffs. Rain and Leo suddenly spot a huge group of humans. He uses a skill to regenerate his rocky body, then he gets up, refusing to give any more info. He declares that everyone who heard him is going to die. He points out that they will all swarm in soon enough. So Jihoon points forward, telling Rizeldrake to go, but then Rizel unleashed its dragon breath attack. Rizel's attack, however, just tore right through them. A system window shows its power was massively boosted. This knight could not even finish his sentence before being hit. This beam of energy cut a huge path through the area. Even the ogres were completely shocked by the power. Rhea just watches, looking a little dazed by it all. This attack left a massive smoking crater in the forest. After that huge blast, Rizel is completely out of magic. Jihoon picks up the little guy, telling it good job. His party leveled up, but not by much, so the knights were weak. Jihoon looks at all the loot, calling it a big harvest. He spots a big glowing purple stone on the ground. He is surprised enhancement stones survived the dragon's breath, so he tells everyone to go collect all the war spoils. It shows Rain, Rhea, and Rizel all leveled up differently. He is just glad Rizel hit level 10 and got a new skill. But when he sees the skill, he is completely shocked. Meanwhile, something unexpected is happening in Warren. An axe suddenly slams into the side of a tree. He is confused, wondering where this new power came from. He turns to see a whole army of them has arrived. This elf says he is taking the ogres to the sea, but no matter how hard he trained, it did not work. He explains the elf's power is incredibly low. This elf is shocked, asking how he could know that, but he admits he has never seen one this powerful. Jihoon wants him to take the sword and fight with him. Leo says that dark elves do not work with other races. He points out Leo's low magic but high physical skill. He explains that weak dark elves are treated as trash. He promises to help Leo grow his magic power. He remembers showing Leo his sword enhancement skill. Jihoon had promised to maximize his magic power. Leo saw this as his chance to get much stronger, so he agreed to join Jihoon, but only for 10 years. Jihoon was just happy to have him on the team. Still, he was a bit surprised by the 10-year offer. Back in the present, he is amazed by his new party. Then he recalls a strange side effect from that day. After using his power, Leo had turned into a blushing kid. After they all talked, they agreed to attack the kingdom. So later, he sits down and hands one to Rain. She recognizes it as one of the special black stones. Jihoon just calmly tells her to go ahead and use it. It works and her rank successfully goes up to see she feels a little sick but also full of new power. This time, the power boost is absolutely massive. This next day, they head for the lizard tribe's swamp. Meanwhile, Leo is leading the ogres toward the sea. Jihoon's plan is to rally the lizards and meet them there. He complains that Leo's full name is way too long. They arrive at the entrance to a very gloomy forest. He notes they are a proud race like the dark elves. Leo asks if he means they are stubborn like he was, but Jihoon just tells him to leave it to him. He thinks about the lizardman lore he knows from games. This whole party is in the water and the ogres are sinking. He warns Jihoon that his tribe does not like outsiders. Jihoon just says that big risks have big rewards, so the lizardman asks why he wants to meet them. Jihoon wants their help to attack the kingdom. He is surprised by the mix of races in the group. He warns them that today is the chief's birthday. This chief is young and will need proof of strength. This lizardman elder offers to take care of the ogres. His skill shows the elder's favorability is at 80. Meanwhile, the elder warns the ogres about strangers. This elder notes that the fog is making it hard to see. They wonder how much farther it is to the village. Jihoon's party finally arrives, but it looks empty. Someone worries about entering without permission. He closes his eyes, focusing on the sound. Then he points to where the sound is coming from. A blue lizardman comes flying down toward him. Suddenly, Leo is forced to block an attack. Rhea leaps into action, aiming a kick at a lizardman, but the lizardman easily blocks her attack. This whole party now faces the powerful warrior, but Jihoon activates one of his special skills. He sees the guard as a strong B-rank soldier. This lizardman tells them to hurry up for the party. They arrive to find a massive arena in the canyon. A blonde knight charges at a lizardman warrior. Then a voice wishes someone named Lurek a happy birthday. A lizardman praises the warrior for a good fight. A lizardman in a cage challenges anyone to a fight. A captured woman tells him to get lost, but he cannot understand. A lizardman guard tells them to hold on a moment. Jihoon checks their stats and is surprised by their power, but he realizes the real surprise is the chief himself. This chief, Lurek, is an S-rank, which is shocking. Lurek demands to know why they broke into his territory. He looks up and says that he needs their strength. Rhea gets angry, but Leo tells her to calm down. He remembers that if you give in once, it is over. He thinks this world is just like the game he knows, so he yells for the entire lizard tribe to serve him. This blue warrior gets angry at Jihoon's attitude. Jihoon clarifies he means the little dragon on his head. So Jihoon yells that Rizel is the one they worship. This lizardmen all look toward a sacred-looking door. Even Leo is shocked, but Rhea reminds him of Rizel's power. She is talking about that crazy beam attack from before. He remembers dragons as huge, village-destroying monsters. This lizardman says he cannot see how that is a dragon, but he insists that Rizel is not a real dragon. He accuses them of pretending and orders them to be killed. This entire tribe starts chanting for their deaths. Jihoon wonders if the chief really cannot recognize a dragon, but then the chief tells everyone to wait, having an idea. He points out there are 4 of them and 4 prisoners left. A woman then yells for the other prisoners to be brought out. It is the Kingdom Knight and his party from the earlier fight. This chief explains they broke in and stole their treasure. On top of that, they also killed a young warrior. He explains that the winner of the fight gets to live. One of the knights tosses something to his beaten friend. It lands in the water with a splash before the party. He asks why they have to do this, but Jihoon tells him to be quiet. But Jihoon just says he's going to prove it to him. He is about to show them the true power of a dragon. It looks like he is activating his dragon breath skill. This knight realizes he might have a way to live after all. Rhea says she cannot just stand by and watch them suffer. This blonde knight sizes them up, saying he will go first. He steps forward and calls for an opponent, insulting them. A lizardman explains it is a one-on-one duel to the death. Jihoon translates the rules: win your match and you live. Jihoon realizes this knight is the weakest of his group, so he asks Rain, the bunny girl, if she wants to fight. He tells her to trust in her own strength now. She remembers the day Jihoon gave her some of his power. So she accepts the challenge and steps into the arena. This chief then orders everyone else to leave the area, but Jihoon reminds the chief about their tribe's absolute rule. Jihoon thinks he has 2 ways to prove Rizzle is a dragon, but he sees this as a chance for Rain to get experience. A terrified rabbit girl named Rain says she is his opponent. This knight is disappointed, seeing no honor in this fight. This chief gives the signal and the match officially begins. This knight powers up, saying he will end it in one strike. He leaps into the air, preparing a powerful thunder attack. This knight unleashes a massive electric slash attack. His lightning-fast strike shoots right towards her, but Jihoon thinks the old Rain would have been in trouble. He says that the current Rain is a lot like Rhea now. He charges forward, yelling that she is just a rabbit. She looks completely terrified as he closes in. Then she remembers Jihoon telling her to trust her strength. She thinks about what will happen if she keeps running. A memory flashes of her being helpless in the past. Realizing she has to fight, she leaps at the knight. This knight is shocked by her sudden counterattack. Jihoon realizes that it must be Rain's new skill. This knight can only stare in disbelief as it comes at him. A huge blast of water just slams into the lizard men. Leo and Rhea are completely stunned by what just happened. Jihoon admits he was ready to step in and stop the fight. It was some kind of weird, fiery fart attack. This bunny girl who did it is in shock herself. Jihoon just gives her a thumbs up, telling her good job. He even says she is the strongest of her kind now. A voice announces that the rabbit girl won the match. This blue-haired woman says she cannot hold back now. A lizardman calls for the next human fighter to step up. Rhea notes how quickly the knight jumped into the fight. He pulls up her status, revealing she isn't a rank knight. She says she has seen too much pain and has hit her limit. But then she gets this really twisted look on her face. She is looking right at Jihoon, asking if he is the leader. This next knight steps up, asking who wants to fight her. Rhea gets annoyed, wondering why that knight is staring at Jihoon. Jihoon knows she isn't a ranked knight with powerful gear. He thinks about how strong she is compared to others, but he is confident she cannot survive Rizzle's dragon breath. His plan is to counter her speed with his own durability. He figures the massive exp gain is worth the risk. Jihoon borrows a sword from one of his party members. He tells them he knows she is dangerous and gets ready. Rizzle sits on his head, also ready for the fight. A flashback shows a lizardman learning dragons saved their tribe. This kid asks if he will get their power someday too. Back in the present, the chief scoffs, calling it a joke. He asks what happens if any of the lizardmen get killed. This next night, a woman starts thinking about her opponent. She is imagining all the brutal ways she could kill him. Leo explains she's using a deadly lightning attack. Even the lizardmen are impressed by her power. Her whole fighting style is about a slow, painful death. This lizardman seems impressed by her attack's power. She says she will swat that little bug on his head first. This sword zips around him, controlled by an electric whip. Leo notes that this is a bad matchup for Jihoon. He thinks the only way to land a hit is a direct charge. So Jihoon runs right into her yellow current attack. He is now trapped inside a massive ring of electricity. Jihoon looks up, realizing he is caught in her trap. He gets zapped by the attack, screaming in agony. He lets out a huge scream from the intense pain. Her vice captain explains she tortures people to the brink, and he says the next part will be even worse. Turns out Kalhera's magic power is draining fast. Her other attacks are also costing a lot of MP. This ring itself is a constant drain on her power, and just like that, her skill becomes unusable. Kalhera is not happy with his defiant look at all. This attack is so wide it even hits the lizardman chief. But the chief recognizes this incredible power. He realizes it is the legendary power of the dragons. A lizardman warrior wonders if Rizzle has that power. This elf tells the chief he must have sensed it by now. He says the chief is the only one there who can use dragon's breath, but he is going to show everyone who they should truly worship. He is talking about the one with the real dragon's breath skill. This elf reveals that Master's name is Rizeldrake, and right on cue, Rizzle's eye glows with immense power. A massive pillar of dark energy erupts from the ground. This other lizardman can only stare up in total shock. This chief falls to his knees, humbled by the display. Jihoon realizes this is Rizeldrake, the boss of Wave 99. This dragon lets out a terrifying, powerful roar. This lizardman chief says he has seen this with his own eyes. Lurek pledges his loyalty to the dragon as their new lord. He feels like he is finally on equal footing with the king. Even Leo is struggling to stand from the dragon's power. Rizeldrake flies into the air, a true legend made real. He would forge a new legend alongside the great dragon, and he remembers there was a person riding on its back. Back in the present, the massive energy pillar finally fades. Jihoon looks up as something small falls from the sky, but he thinks the short duration was way too short. With that, the main quest to expand his forces is cleared. Since they overachieved, they get a special bonus reward. After all that, Jihoon gets a reward notification. It is an rank stone that can upgrade gear to S rank. This system calls him a being between human and monster. His party members are just happy to see him eating. Others are also enjoying the food, drooling over it. Even the other knights run over to join the feast. This village is finally at peace after everything. After a big meal, someone says they are finally full. This elf asks where Rizzle is, and Jihoon points to the temple. Jihoon is shocked, asking if this has been going on for a while. Turns out the lizardmen are pampering Rizzle like a king. Jihoon says it is fine since he and Rizzle are the same. He decides it is time for everyone to rest for the night, but one of the lizardmen feels like they are being watched. Elsewhere, a knight is badly injured and out of breath. He knows he has to report what he just saw. This knight yells that the legendary knight is gathering monsters. Up on the castle walls, the guards spot him coming. He yells that the legendary knight is gathering monsters. They are immediately captured and marched through the city as prisoners. Then he spots a wanted poster of Jihoon on a wall. A voice from the castle orders them all to be hanged. Inside, they are brought before the king and accused of looting. A knight and a woman walk out of the throne room. She asks why he is alone, and he says everyone was wiped out. This knight explains he barely escaped the attack. He says it was a monster summoned by the legendary knight. This king listens, hearing his forces were annihilated by it. This informant says he overheard their plan after they fell asleep. He claims he saw the legendary knight gathering monsters, and their ultimate goal is to attack the kingdom. This guards are stunned, realizing this is a major crisis. A voice from the throne asks for the legendary knight's location. This informant says he heard Jihoon was heading to the Fox Den. This king is clearly not happy to hear that name. He then orders every elite knight in the castle to assemble. They are going to form a special force to hunt Jihoon down, but the informant has a sinister look, thinking of his brother's killer. Meanwhile, someone in another location tells their group to stay alert. He is finally allowed into a very steamy room. She just says she wants to get some fresh air. But Leo quickly reminds her that she is still their prisoner. Jihoon then spots a guard by a prison and asks what is going on. He gets a little flustered, realizing he said his name out loud. Inside the cell, Kalhera's arm reaches out, asking for the restroom. Jihoon agrees to let her out, checking on the other prisoners too. He is surprised she is still alive, and Leo thanks him for it. Jihoon just pats him, saying it is a perfectly normal need. He tells her there is no separate restroom, so she will have to go here. Three of them just stand there in an awkward silence. She asks why he was watching her, saying it is embarrassing. She promises not to escape and asks them to turn around. Rhea questions if they should really be this kind to prisoners, but Jihoon explains it is a tactic to make them lower their guard. Rhea teases him, thinking he might have liked that human. As he denies it, a snake tail suddenly whips past him. She reminds him he promised to see them safely to the sea, but then he senses someone else approaching in the mist. Back at the lizard chief's house, an argument is happening. This chief explains humans invaded and killed their warriors. Jihoon asks him why he is so afraid to fight back. It turns out this new guy is the tribe's former chief. This chief explains the loser of their combat is exiled, and now the former chief has returned to challenge him. Jihoon is surprised they are just going to fight right now. They all head to an arena to watch the duel unfold, but Jihoon sees this as a great chance to see their power. His eyes start glowing as he powers up for the battle. A flashback shows a powerful red lizardman roaring. He says he will show the strength of the ancient world. This current chief explains their leader is chosen by duel. Just like that, a duel for the chieftain spot is happening. But Jihoon sees this as a chance to watch them fight. A priest explains it is to protect the village from the fight. He remembers the elf mentioning who could use dragon's breath. Jihoon realizes the elder Rainek is not in their faction yet. This means they can get X from his S-rank battle. He says there is no mercy and mentions a primordial mutation. He lets out a huge roar as he begins to transform. But Rainek's eye glows too, ready to show his own strength. He transforms into a massive dinosaur as a barrier forms. Rhea is shocked by all the smoke from the transformation. Jihoon thinks this is way more intense than a normal awakening. He looks on, clearly a little worried by this display. Now two giant dinosaurs are facing off in the arena. Rainek is sent flying into some kind of energy field. He completely overpowers Rainek, pinning him down. It turns out Lurak's physical strength is just way higher. But Jihoon's analysis reveals Rainek has one advantage. Rainek's hand starts glowing with magic attack power. He unleashes a huge blast of energy at point-blank range. This entire arena is engulfed in a bright yellow light. When the smoke clears, Lurak is still standing, but he is hurt. He had to walk out in the bright, burning sun. This harsh environment dulled his senses and dried his skin. But Rainek argues that they can adapt to new places. As chief, he cannot risk his warriors' lives carelessly. Rainek suggests their power has a greater purpose. A flashback shows a mother telling her child about the dragons. This child thinks maybe it is their turn to save others. But Lurak says the chief decides, so Rainek must prove it. He has to prove his point with his own strength. A flashback shows the previous duel for the title of chief. Jihoon and Rhea are stunned by the display of power. Rhea worries that all the power is in one spot. It looks like it is about to explode at any second. Lord Bell tells Rain to watch the others and runs off. Rhea and Jihoon are just staring, wondering who actually won. He insists that he will not accept a single defeat, but it is Rainek standing over him, asking for his last words. Lurek just says their race is strong and they will adapt. Lurek explains it is because of what he saw outside their village. He just wanted to prevent those tragedies from reaching his home. Jihoon realizes this duel is what causes the lizard tribe to attack the kingdom later. He is now the chief and orders them to treat Lurek's wounds. Jihoon gets a smug look, telling Rhea he is up next. He wonders if this is the start of the next main quest, and right on cue an emergency quest window pops up. It is a defense mission against 500 knights and 3 S ranks. At that moment, Lord Bell comes running toward him. Jihoon frantically explains that Warren is in danger. Meanwhile, at a human kingdom, the castle gates open. And finally, we see the commanders Rib and Acker. This king puts Euros in charge of the subjugation force. A king orders his troops to leave the walls and march out, but he is stuck on wall defense watching the army leave. A woman with a parasol shows up complaining about dirt. She asks if Ari is worried, but he is not having it. It turns out she has a performance and a fan signing. His other companion asks why he is so eager to fight. He says he just wants to help the king's dream. She notes he is different from Arkin, who he calls a cultist. Down below, some kids run up to a robed man, calling him a monster. An old man reflects on being human, a monster, and a star. A child points out a star shining in the daytime sky. This old man just looks up with a knowing expression. He sees 2 stars, a sign that another has risen. Meanwhile, Jihoon's group learns humans are attacking Warren. So Jihoon tells Rhea and the elf to go on ahead. Jihoon gives Rhea the B-rank stone he got from Lurek. After a flash of light, her power level changes. Now Jihoon turns his attention to his A-rank stone. He knows he will need an S-rank to fight a knight named Rib. Jihoon realizes they will need a powerful army to win. Lurek then asks if humans are the ones attacking. He plans to personally lead the warriors out of their home. Another lizardman warns Lurek that it is too dangerous. But Lurek insists on leading their first war outside. Just then, another warrior named Derek steps up. It turns out Derek is a high-level rank warrior. He then looks at Derek, ready to give his orders. Lurek's final order to Derek is simple: do not die. In a flashback, Derek vowed to never submit to his environment. Derek announces they are all heading back to Warren. She asks about their other friends, but Rain says the lizards will help. Another warrior tells the bunny girl she is coming along too. This lizardmen step out of their swamp into the bright sun. One of them takes a firm step onto the dry ground. All the warriors are glowing with the same energy. Derek tells them not to fear the sun, they are elite warriors. This lizardman warriors are lined up, ready to go. He takes a determined step forward, and with that he leads the army out of the swamp. Jihoon is leading 50 elite rank warriors himself. They are already approaching the city of Warren. Elsewhere, one of the commanders pulls out a shadow whip. This is Rib, and her ability is called Shadow Nail. It is a skill that lets her set a teleportation waypoint. She says that shadows are eternal, then calls out to Ryan. Rib just looks down at her shadow on the path. She tells Ryan to back up, saying her power is dangerous. Rib asks Bianca if this spot is far enough away, but then they hear a rustling sound in the grass. He raises his hammer and tells the army to stop. Bianca and Rib also realize something is in the forest. Euros thinks they might be walking into an ambush. Then he spots a single wolf on a cliff overlooking them. He recognizes it as a dangerous, dire wolf. This wolf on the cliff lets out a long, loud howl. A soldier tells Euros there must be 1,000 of them. Another knight shouts orders, telling the troops not to panic. Her companion says it is better to defend from the castle. Meanwhile, a wolf chief sees this as a chance to attack. This human commander tells his men to brace for impact. This wolves leap toward the human shield wall. The sheer power of the charge pushes the soldiers back. This wolf chief then orders his pack to leap over them, so the wolves start jumping right over the shield wall. This spearmen raise their weapons, ready for the attack. This spearmen easily cut down the wolves in midair. Back at the city of Warren, the sun begins to set. A guard on the wall lets out a huge yawn. He wonders if the attackers are not coming today since it is so quiet. But out in the forest, smoke rises from the battlefield. A blood-soaked sword is pulled from the white wolf's back. With its dying breath, the wolf calls its killer a calamity, but she notes that its blood is red just like theirs. He complains that war is filthy and he just wants to go home. Euros gets a report, only 1 casualty. He orders the army to advance. He then tells their bandit guide to keep leading the way. This guide smirks, impressed by the knight's overwhelming power. This human commander says to just wait for the legendary knight. Suddenly, everyone in the party hears his voice in their heads. This elf realizes it is telepathy as Rhea prepares to explain the plan. A bunch of slimes are helping move logs into a cave village. Then Tor the Minotaur spots Rhea and the elf approaching. Back with the humans, they have found the village inside the mountain. This plan is to surround the area and leave no one alive. A quest then appears to defend Warren within 2 hours, but Jihoon sees that the enemy's advance has slowed down. A rabbit runs up to Lord Tor, warning him about enemies. A countdown hits 0 and a mission begins. A commander explains a trapped village is inside. He then pulls out a card with a Taurus symbol. He orders Rib to take 50 knights and go in first. But a different commander thinks this team is enough to win. A man places his hand on Rib's shoulder, wishing her luck. He gives her a supportive touch before she heads in. A blonde commander tells a captured bandit to lead the way. He nervously warns them to watch their step. This guide is confused because a trap marker is missing. He insists the traps cannot be gone, but someone steps forward. Suddenly, the floor collapses into a deep pit of spikes. She follows it up with a spell called Earth Tomb. Her magic fills the pit, creating a solid path for them. This bandit is stunned that the traps just vanished. A giant stone hand erupts from the wall, blocking the debris. They reach a fork with 3 tunnels, but Rib says it does not matter. She decides to follow the path with the brightest light. Rib points to one of the tunnels, telling them to go that way. They finally emerge from the dark cave into a sunny canyon. Rib spots a field full of holes, another potential trap. She orders one of her knights to check it out. This knight stabs his spear into the ground using a fire spell, but nothing comes out, which the guide finds very strange. As they walk, Shamri notes it has been a while since she and Rib were out together. She even teases Rib about being a coward back in the day. Shamri reminds her of a time she cried in a cave as a kid. A soldier peeks into a hut, telling Shamri he is scared. He checks inside but finds the house is completely empty. Another soldier runs up, reporting that every single house is empty. The knights are confused since they surrounded the entire village. Rib decides to check herself, asking if they missed any tunnels, but after looking around, she wonders if they just abandoned it. Suddenly, a bunch of rabbits start moving in a blur. It turns out the villagers are all escaping through a hidden path. His plan was simple: abandon the village of Warren. Fighting the S-rank army head-on would be suicide, so instead they set a trap at the cave entrance. This entire entrance begins to collapse and seal itself shut. This villagers escape through other tunnels, leaving the enemy inside. Rib turns around just as the explosion seals her and her knights in. He points out another tunnel inside the village to Rib. Elsewhere, a blindfolded commander thinks the retreat was too clean. She realizes the exit was too obvious and yells, "Stop." It seems one dark elf did not escape with the others. This commander quickly realizes this is a trap. Back with Rib, a knight asks which way to go. Meanwhile, Bianca uses her light sword dance skill. She unleashes a massive beam of light at the enemy, but the dark elf just stands there, saying that is enough. Bianca stops her attack, surprised by his confidence. He tells her that her skill is strongest in a straight line. She then unleashes a massive dark slash attack. This human knights immediately charge forward to attack. A knight is shocked, recognizing the power as Bianca's. The soldiers scream that they cannot block the attack. Rib just stares in disbelief at the overwhelming power. But then Rhea prepares to use a light-based skill. She unleashes a powerful flash strike. Her light attack clashes with the dark energy. This two of them clash in a blur of motion. This elf realizes Rhea is the strong knight Jihoon described. He realizes she is a dual wielder, just as he was told. He remembers Jihoon saying he was the only one who could face her. We see their levels as they clash again in a burst of light. This elf thinks that she is on a completely different level. Their fight is just a blur of light and dark energy. She cannot believe a monster can parry Rhea's sword dance, but the elf is holding his own against her attacks. He smirks, thinking this is what it is like to fight the strongest. He dodges another one of her powerful strikes. This elf says she is not bad, then prepares his own skill. Rhea just stares back, ready for his counterattack. This elf unleashes her massive dark slash attack, but Bianca prepares to counter with her light sword dance. Their attacks collide, causing a huge explosion outside. A scout runs to a commander named Lord Euros, pointing to a tunnel. His men confirm the village was abandoned before the explosion. A mage tells him Rib is alive thanks to a shadow tracker. Back inside, Rib is locked in a tense standoff with the elf. Someone watching from the shadows is impressed by the fight. He realizes the opponent is a dark elf and a strong one at that. Outside, Lord Euros says no one can beat Rib one-on-one. He then raises his giant hammer to cast an area skill. It is a spell that increases the movement speed of his allies. This knights feel their bodies get lighter, ready for battle. A commander orders them to attack the enemy's main force. This fox-eared woman notices that someone named Belle is missing. She manages to snatch it out of the air just in time. She realizes in horror that the enemy has found them. A massive army of knights is marching right for them. Then they all start to merge together into one mass. A giant wall of slimes suddenly erupts from the ground. An archer realizes their physical attacks are not working at all. Tor yells for the villagers to use this chance to escape, but the human commander orders his men not to let anyone escape, so a knight uses a skill called Rupture Wave. This attack shatters the ground in front of the villagers. This villagers can only stare as the ground rises up. This commander then orders all of his units to charge. This entire human army rushes forward to attack, and the fox-eared woman stands alone, facing them all. But Tor steps forward, telling everyone to prepare for battle. This rabbits agree, deciding to fight to the death. All the other monsters get fired up, ready for revenge. Even the slimes are hyped and ready to join the fight. Jihoon's plan was to retreat, but that is not an option anymore. She remembers that they were already given a second chance at life. As night falls, a skill activates, making all monsters stronger. This monster alliance, 902 strong, gets ready to charge.